Okay, my neurodiverse, spicy little friends. This week, the question about testing has come up. I just don't even know. So many times. So let's just go there and have that conversation. Is testing the right thing to do? I don't know. You have to ask yourself a bunch of questions. Why do you want to get tested? What is the outcome you're hoping to receive from that testing? And then, if you know you have some memory glitches, I highly recommend you start writing that information down. As you look into testing and so forth, I highly recommend you have a note on your phone or something that you can start to collect the information you want to make sure you talk about in that testing. One of the key things I want people to remember, and what I write about in my article this week, is about the fact that there are two really big reasons that you would go to a psychiatrist to get further testing, because that is set up to do one of two things. First, it is meant to figure out if you would qualify and benefit from, if your neurology would benefit from medication. Okay, so we've got a medication bucket, and the other is if you would qualify and receive value and benefit from assistive services, or an IEP if you're in school. More than likely, if I'm talking to you, you might still be in college, and so yes, we will possibly look at that for that IEP. If you are out of school, that IEP comes off. Workplace accommodations, I'm just going to tell you, vary, and right now very heavily, a lot. And whether workplaces want to hear about doing accommodations right now is definitely a spicy little conversation we're not going to have here today. So you need to figure out a few of those things. Those are just top level kinds of questions. If you want to see about medication, then yes, you're going to need to go down that path. If you want to pursue workplace accommodations, or your workplace is looking to work with you and wants to learn more, absolutely pursue that and learn some more. What that type of testing is not is a personality assessment. It is not a strengths finder. It is going to identify some things, and that's a bonus out of this whole deal, but that's not its primary goal and objective. It's only looking for weaknesses in particular areas that would benefit from things from an IEP, and it is only looking for weaknesses where medication would bring benefit. If during that testing you don't fall into those kind of categories, then really you're just going to kind of get some light information, but it isn't going to, if you don't fall into the buckets, you don't fall into those buckets. So it may not be exactly what you're looking for. So I wanted to kind of cover that, because so often, and I even caught myself in this recently when I was doing some testing, I caught myself in the bucket of like, oh, this will have all of this information. You know what? It didn't. And I was reminded of that. And I remind my clients of that, but somehow I had hoped that testing had advanced. It's another thing I talk about in the article. We have to remember this type of testing was only started, ADHD was in the 80s, dyslexia was in the mid 70s, and then autism they only started testing for that in some manner in the 80s. And those tests continuously evolve. They evolve slowly. And we need to understand that in a time when we're so used to information and systems evolving quickly around us, this lives in a medical system, and it does not, because it has standards, which is great, it moves slowly. So typically shifts like that are a 2 to 5 year process before anything moves and becomes something different. And you just need to keep that in mind. So they're not, I can share with you something that came out of my test results, something I've read off of other people's results recently, is it when it talks about adaptive tools, it in no way considers AI. AI wasn't around when these tests were last updated. It doesn't even encourage web searching and those types of things. Like, it blows my mind what is not recommended in there. So definitely consider it a place you're going and some information that you can use to start further conversations. You can pursue further information and do some of your own research. Again, it's a great tool when people come to me with that. It helps us know a bunch of things, and then we can apply that, do some more research, and move it forward from there. So that's what I'm saying about professional psychological testing. It has its place. Understand its place. Pursue it when you want things within that place, but recognize, like most things, it has limitations, and I want to keep your expectations in check for some of that. I am so glad we've had this conversation. I look forward to hearing your comments. I want to hear about testings you've had and success that you've had with it, or impressions that did not feel as successful. I would also love to hear about personality tests that you like and recommend. One of the hidden bonuses that I have found when clients are like, well, is my memory declining? I'm not sure where, it's not that great. I'm like, you know what? Pay for a year subscription of Lumosity, the game. There's a hint on my memory. The brain game app that they have. You can also play it on your computer. It actually, in playing those games, it is continuously testing you, and it is play testing, so it's real time and in the moment. One of the things I've done with it is I test out my memory. There are certain games that are very memory based. And I test out my memory at different parts of the day. I did that for a month, and that was part of how I recognized when my memory was at its best, when it retained information better. And so now I actually do my workday around some of the information that I pulled from that, which was simple and easy and affordable. So there's a variety of ways to gain the information you're looking for, but find it possibly from a different resource or service. I am Joy Gina. I am here to help unconventional thinkers and people with neurodiversities, dyslexia, ADHD, autism, find incredible results in their life by shifting some small things that may be getting in their way. Bye now.